helped me a lot. So thank you. God
Appreciate
bless.
it. Thanks for coming, man. Yeah. Zardius, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
are you Muslim?
Yeah.
Awesome. Today we are talking about Muhammad in the Bible. Do you want to show us a place where you think Muhammad's in the Bible?
Yeah. I point to Genesis chapter 49, verse 10.
49:10. All right, let's pull that one up. I'm going to share my screen here. We're interested in this one. This sounds like I've not heard this one in a while.
I think this is the first time I've heard this one.
Is it?
No, it's in the book, isn't it?
So the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet until tribute comes to him, and to him shall be obedience of the peoples. My question is how is this predicting Muhammad?
Yeah, because it says the judgment stuff. The ruler stuff. The ruler stuff. It will move away from Judah. And that ruler stuff would be the Torah, and that would move away from Judah. Right? Jesus was from Judah, so it can't be him. Now, Prophet Muhammad, is outside of Judah, and he came with a different law for his community. So I'm assuming that this is a Gentile leader outside of Judah. And yeah.
Real quick, are you aware of the difficulty in translating this verse?
What do you mean?
Well, there's a book called Murmuring Against Moses by John Bergsma and Jeffrey L. Morrow. And they bring up this passage and they go basically by a slight revocalization. It could be translated as until he comes to whom it belongs. It could be translated until Shiloh comes or until he comes to Shiloh. So The issue with this is that what they're pointing out is that this is a very vague verse. We're not entirely sure what it means. Scholars debate over this.
Yeah, I know there's vagueness with the scepter. Like if you said the scepter was royal, it would not make sense because David's kingdom, Judah, the political kingdom, the royal stuff was like destroyed after David, and Shiloh never came. But there is in the Bible, the scepter is also used as a correctional stuff in Proverbs. The scepter is used as a correctional stuff as well. So in order for the prophecy to be accurate, you have to kind of get rid of this royal stuff idea. So I go with the idea that it's the correctional stuff that will depart from Judah. It won't remain with Judah. When Shiloh comes, it goes away from Judah. And Jesus it can't be Shiloh because he is from Judah. Right? Like it says it's outside of Judah. Jesus is from Judah, so it's not him. Right? So who do you think that is then? The Shiloh figure?
Well, hold on. What I'm contesting is the part it says the scepter shall not depart from Judah. Again, that is a very hard verse to translate because you could just revocalize it and it could just be like until he comes to Shiloh or until he comes to Shiloh. And like what they argue in the book Murmuring Against Moses about this verse is this is actually referring to Judah as the tribe out of the Exodus and when they come into the land of Canaan, because then we see that who is the leader of Israel at that point. Well, they argue that it's Joshua. So he's of the tribe of Ephraim. So then he becomes the leader there. So this is a prophecy given by Jacob very, very in Egypt. So he's talking about things that come after up till the point of returning to Canaan. And again, scepter may not even be the word there. It could be Shiloh. So, and I think actually a lot of scholars do favor that because of it fits more with its historical context in terms of
you mean the scepter word?
Egypt. Yeah.
The scepter word is different. Like the scepter is I think the Shiloh is the end of the verse. The scepter one is the Sevet. The Sevet will not depart from Judah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I think I misunderstood you there. Okay. So you're talking about the scepter. I was misunderstanding.
Yeah, but I'm not saying the scepter is a person. Like I'm saying that the Shiloh is the person, and um, but it doesn't make sense for it to be Joshua as well because it still remained with Judah either way. You know, the ruler
Mhm.
stuff still remained with Judah. So, and even the law still remained with Judah. So it doesn't make sense for it to be Joshua, even if he's the king over Judah.
So then here's a question we need to ask. When is this supposed to end?
It's supposed to end when the law giving is outside of Judah. That's when it's supposed to end.
Where does it say that though?
Because it says it won't depart until this thing happens. So that means that it's gonna depart. It's gonna move away. And it would be given to this person. Like it has to move away. This law giving thing. It says the scepter will not depart from Judah or the ruler's staff from between his feet, meaning his genealogy, um, until this person comes. And when that person comes, then it would be something not with Judah that this law is with. And I take that to be the community at Muhammad's time.
Okay, but it doesn't actually say that. It just says the scepter shall not depart. It doesn't say it's going to be given to somebody else. So even if you're right, this still isn't showing Muhammad in the Bible. That's the point I'm trying to
Well,
make.
you're saying Shiloh doesn't receive it.
So Shiloh is a person then? Because Shiloh's an area.
I know, but I know no, but this is a person. It says until he to whom it belongs will come. If you say Shiloh, and then it says to him will be the tribute of nations, like the support of nations. Like if you're saying it's an area, it makes like how can areas support a mountain?
Well, I
Or
mean,
I mean,
again,
sorry, a
it's
cave or something.
translated until he comes to Shiloh is what a lot of scholars point out. Like the book I gave you.
Okay, so why? So do you think Shiloh is the actual cave place, the place, the area, or the person?
I don't think there's any evidence it's a person. Because
Okay,
the other way it
okay.
could be translated is until tribute comes to him. That's the way that it shows up in the ESV, for example, that we had on the screen. So until this person Shiloh comes to him, that doesn't make sense.
It says until, okay, so, but then there's the part after where it says, and the allegiance of the nations will be his. Even if you say Shiloh, it says after that, and the allegiance of the nations shall be his. You can't give allegiance to a cave, you know, that
Allegiance to a
Shiloh
what?
cave.
I'm
To
not talking
the
about a cave. I'm
Shiloh
just talking
cave.
about a plate. I'm just talking about a place generally was my point. But I mean, like the way, I mean, do you know the way that Jewish and Christian commentators have looked at this throughout history?
Yeah, they think it's the Messiah.
Right. The scepter does not part until the Messiah comes, is what they're saying it is. So, like, why is that a
Okay.
problem for Christians?
So what do you translate the scepter, the royal staff as? The scepter. What do you think that is?
The line of kings that came out of, you could look at it as the line of kings that came out of David if you take that view.
The thing is that it did move away from after David. It did move away. They were under Roman rule, so it can't be this royal stuff. It has to be the correctional stuff.
Well, so wait, says who?
If it is because a lot of people they say that if it's the royal stuff, this prophecy is just bullshit because the royal kingdom it did move after Judah. Like when he was moved away from Judah, there was no Shiloh, so this prophecy would fail.
Wait, what do you mean there was no Shiloh? You're not. You're kind of like making these things
So
and these assumptions. You're not actually backing it up.
So it says that it won't move from Judah until Shiloh comes. So if you're saying it's David and his kingdom, after David died, then the kingdom was owned by Romans, etc. Then that would mean if it's the royal
Oh,
scepter, then Shiloh would be there. Because it says when he comes, it will depart. Until Shiloh
when
comes, it will depart. And to him will be the tribute of nations.
okay, so when okay, so now we're getting some timeline issues then. So so just make if I'm understanding you right, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet until tribute comes to him. You're saying that it's going to depart from Judah when Muhammad comes. Is that your argument?
When Muhammad came, it moved from Judah, the ruling.
Okay, but by your own logic, then it can't be Muhammad because the ruling staff of Judah left a long time prior to that.
No, no, it didn't. No, they still had the Torah that they had to judge by.
But it says ruler's staff in the verse.
I don't take it as the royal stuff, as in like the kingdom stuff.
But notice the parallelism. The scepter shall not depart of Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet. So both of them, even if you take scepter as like a correcting thing, they're interlocked together and they need to depart at the same time then. Yeah. And that can't be Muhammad then.
Yeah, but the ruler stuff is the law-giving stuff.
Okay.
The ruler stuff.
And when did that leave?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have left with the ruling staff then at the same time then, according to this, if you're going to take this kind of literal reading out of
it? The correctional stuff, it departed from Judah because Muhammad came with his own correcting stuff. And then from there came God's laws and God's actual words. And then when it talks about the ruling stuff, Muhammad had his own like kind of law, Sharia, and that would override like everything.
Okay, but when did the ruling staff leave Judah?
The law stuff, it left Judah when Muhammad came.
But you just said that's false because the Romans were ruling over them.
No, I said law stuff, the law stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I asked about the ruling staff. When did the ruling staff leave?
You mean like the royal stuff? Is that what you... I don't think the verse is talking about that. Because then the prophecy would not make sense. It has to be correctional stuff.
Brother, that's what it literally says. Let me put it back on the screen. Look, nor the ruler staff from between his feet. So the scepter shall not depart, nor the ruler staff. It's both.
It can't be ruler stuff. Because if you say it's ruler stuff, then it's like, that must mean that Shiloh must have came when the Romans were ruling the people, because that's when it left Judah.
Good.
That's why I'm saying it can't be that.
I just have a question, and this is out of ignorance because I haven't heard this prophecy before or looked into it. But I'm like kind of just reading the context of Genesis 49 in general, and it opens up with saying, "Then Jacob called his sons and said, 'Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you what shall happen to you in the days to come. Assemble and listen, O sons of Jacob, listen to Israel your father.'" So any of these prophecies, I would argue, would presuppose that whatever this is a prophecy is about, they're within the lineage of Jacob and descendants of Judah.
Right.
But it says it will depart from Judah.
That's totally in line with being a descendant of Jacob and Judah. You still have to be a descendant in order to depart from the thing, right?
The descendants would have to be there when it would depart. When the descendants would be there, then...
So was Muhammad a descendant of Jacob from Judah and then departed?
No, Shiloh is outside of Judah. That's the thing. If Muhammad was within Judah, then it would be weird. Because then it would still be with Judah. Because it says it will depart from Judah when Shiloh comes. If Muhammad was in the genealogy of Judah, then it wouldn't make sense. It would be like, okay, it's still with Judah then. It can't be Jesus. Jesus was from Judah. He had his laws from Judah.
Okay, but I don't think we're on the same page here, and I think that's why we're talking past one another.
Yeah.
Okay, because again, as I said earlier, the way Christians have understood this is they're saying that the scepter is not going to depart from Judah. Like that's actually like in agreement between Jews and Christians. Like,
so Shiloh is not a real person that will come.
No, no. Well, I mean, some of them have looked at it as the Messiah, but I mean, the way they're understanding it is that you have two different opinions. One is that it's going to come through the line of Judah until the Messiah comes, and he'll have the everlasting kingdom. The other one is that they've read it as that it's just going to stay within Judah.
I'm pretty sure there's something about this in
But
the Dead Sea
verse 11
Scrolls. So
says like he will tether his donkey to a vine. There's like so much descriptions of this Shiloh person, like for it to be like not a prophecy of an actual person to come.
Scholars take verse 11 to be talking about Judah there.
Until he to whom it belongs. No. But it's wait. He will tether his donkey to a vine.
Yeah, like the dominant understanding is that this is referring to the place in Canaan, Shiloh, until he comes to Shiloh, as I was trying to talk about earlier, not as a person.
So you're saying when Judah comes to Shiloh?
Yeah, the scepter's, yeah.
So when Judah goes to Shiloh, then the scepter goes.
It depends. Again, as I said, when you read John Bergsma on this is a very hard verse to translate. So we're not entirely sure of the nature of the meaning. It could be saying the opposite. That's when he's going to come into his kingdom.
Wait, which scholar said verse 11 is Judah?
Like the majority, like everyone, because it's talking about Judah, the person. Shiloh's not a person in the historical context.
Yeah, but even places are kind of personified, like,
Sure.
sorry, even, yeah. But, okay, so this place, Judah, this Judah person, you're talking about the son of Jacob, right? He goes to Shiloh, and then if you take it like in that way, you're saying Judah is the nation or not the nation, or is the actual son?
It'd be it would be again, when you go into the scholarship, you're going to get so many different opinions here. It's very hard to nail down something. Some say it's the son. It's only talking about the son, like critical scholars. Some say it's talking about like the descendants. So it's.
I think from
hard to
between
really
his feet
translate.
means the descendants, because between your feet is where your descendants come. So so I think it is the descendants.
Okay, that's fine. But what I'm still trying to figure out how. Listen, this is all like secondary issues. Even if you're right, this doesn't predict Muhammad. Like, how do you know this isn't Joseph Smith, or how do you know this isn't some Jewish leader, or why do you know it has to specifically be Muhammad?
Well, verse 11, like he's shown as this like kind of warrior, where it says his cloth to the choicest branch, he'll wash his garments in wine. So that sign is that he's a warrior in verse 11. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk, like is a physical description, which matches.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go in like a
He
minute.
has washed his garments in wine and his vestiges in the blood of grapes. So Muhammad is washing his garments in wine.
No. It's him being a warrior. In Isaiah, the same imagery is used for warrior fighting, like wine being on your dress.
Okay, but you do understand that the verse, like what it's trying to say is the scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler staff, but from his descendants until the coming of the one whom it belongs. So what I'm trying to say is like Christians and Jewish interpretators have not said the scepter is departing from the tribe of Judah. It's going to stay in there until AKA the Messiah comes, because he's in that. So it's like preparing for the Messiah through the tribe of Judah. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't, because look,
That's
is
the
like,
way it's been understood by early Jewish and Christian commentators for
so it is the
centuries.
Messiah.
Yeah, well, that's the way they understood it. What I'm saying is critical scholars look at this and go, I don't know how to translate this verse.
They also say it's a false prophecy, because if you say it's the Messiah, then it's like the ruler stuff was still from Judah either way when
No, they just take a non-messianic interpretation of it.
they also disregard it because they say that it can't be this royal stuff because there's two interpretations. You can take correctional stuff or royal stuff. A lot of the Jews did take the royal stuff interpretation, but obviously that failed because after David's kingdom, when it died, it was lost. There was no Shiloh figure. And
brother, you're misunderstanding what the critical scholars say. They say this, as I said in the beginning, they say this is referring to Judah coming into the region of Shiloh, like the tribe moving up to there.
Yeah, and also his genealogy, because it says it won't move from between his feet, so it would be his genealogy, right?
Okay, but all right, let's just get to the point. How you said that it's gonna be a warrior, but again, if we understand the way the verse is basically saying, it's saying the scepter is not going to depart from Judah until it comes to the one whom it belongs. So if that's the case, it's got to be the scepter and the ruling staff, right?
Yeah,
because it says the scepter and the ruling staff.
Yeah, but it can't be an actual like kingdom stuff. Like the ruling stuff is this law stuff. If you say it's the kingdom stuff, no, but are you talking about the
go what you're
Shevet?
saying. It has to be kingdom stuff because it says ruler's staff. It has to be kingdom stuff.
It says no the staff. Like it doesn't even say ruling stuff. It just says the staff in the Hebrew. It just says the staff.
That's because that's what rulers had. They had a staff.
No, but it's the scepter. The scepter is the thing that's disputed. So the scepter is the thing that rulers do have as well. That thing was disputed and was said it can't be an actual ruling staff because then this verse is just a failed prophecy because Shiloh didn't come when the ruler staff was taken away from Judah. There wasn't this Shiloh person that came. So the other interpretation is that it's correctional stuff, which is using Proverbs.
That's if you take a messianic interpretation of it and not go with what like critical scholars say, that it's just referring to Judah coming into Shiloh. I mean, you're kind of saying it's got to be some sort of like specific like messianic type prophecy, and I'm telling you, the critical scholars are like, no, we don't have to do that now.
I don't believe it's I don't believe it's Jesus.
Right, I know you don't, but you're kind of doing what they're saying. So what they say is the non-messianic and the messianic interpretation. And so if you're messianic, you're saying, well, this is referring to the Messiah coming. What you're trying to do is you're trying to take that messianic, but take it in kind of an Islamic direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm saying that you don't even have to do that. Like there's non-messianic interpretations.
Yeah, but I think this makes the most sense. Like contextually, like there's persons that are being prophesied in Genesis 49. It makes sense that the correctional stuff to him to whom it belongs, the Quran claims that it belongs to like Muhammad. And then also the correctional stuff, like he was also a prophet, kind of like a Gentile prophet. And then to him, and he was a warrior.
But he's also going to be like it's talking about rulership, kingship. Muhammad wasn't a king.
No, but again, if you say it, that's what I'm saying. It's correctional stuff and not this scepter. Because I said there's two interpretations. If you take the scepter to be a royal thing, prophecy fails. Because when that was taken from Judah in the royal direction, Shiloh didn't come. So if you take in the correctional direction, it makes a lot more sense.
You need to justify Shiloh being a person. You haven't done that, is my point.
I mean, okay, so Shiloh being a person, it can mean he whose it is. Like you're right, it can mean that he whose it is or he to whom it belongs. But it makes sense for it to be a person. Like if you look at the next verse, like it talks about a warrior. So I wouldn't see how this area would be a warrior. I don't, you know, and that place already exists. Like, so at that time. So
yeah,
I do take it as a future
about him
prophecy.
coming to Shiloh. I mean, you can take it, but again, this doesn't actually show Muhammad at the end of the day, because if we're talking, I mean, again, you can say it can't be a ruler, but I mean, like, the overwhelming majority of scholars are saying this is about the scepter of Judah, like the ruling staff, and you're saying, well, it can't be. Then why are the overwhelming majority of scholars saying no, this is about a ruling staff?
Because it would be a failed prophecy. It
No,
would be a failed prophecy.
you're assuming it has to be a prophecy about a coming figure. You haven't justified that.
I mean, isn't Genesis 49 like Jacob giving future prophecies? Like talks about his children, Benjamin, his tribe, like things like that. Like
he's talking about things that are going to happen to his children. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's prophetic aspects in here.
And Benjamin's lineage as well.
But what you're trying to say is this has to be a prophecy about some future figure and not just what's going to happen to the individual tribes.
So you're saying at the time of Jacob, that's when it departed from Judah, at Judah's time, like where? But that's what it says. It says it will depart. Yeah, so from his child Judah, now you're saying it's Judah. Okay, so that means at Judah's lifetime, it departed from there at that time.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that he would be prophesying. The way they look at this is that this is about Jacob talking about what's going to happen to the tribes when they come into Canaan and how they're going to function within Canaan.
Okay, so and Jacob went to Shiloh, I'm guessing. This area.
Yeah, that would be part of the territory, yeah.
So did Shiloh come or did Judah come to Shiloh?
Judah came to Shiloh is what a lot of critical scholars say, is my point.
But it says Shiloh comes. It doesn't say Judah comes.
Okay, now we're going back in circles again. John Bergsma, Jeffrey Morrow point out that slight revocalization, it could be like until it comes to whom he belongs, until Shiloh comes, or until he comes to Shiloh. So it's vague. And again, there's a reason why this verse isn't really used that much. It's because it's kind of hard to translate because we don't know the way it's supposed to be vocalized.
I mean, I guess we're kind of going in a circle, but it was nice speaking to you guys.
All right. Yeah. Sorry we couldn't help you.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. I'm trying to track with him and I'm like, that's not, I'm like going over what scholars say. And I'm like, that's not what they say about this at all.
Yeah, I'm just kind of as you guys were talking, I'm just kind of looking and seeing what we find in the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I mean the way that the early Christians and Jewish commentators understood this is that the scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruling staff from between his descendants until it comes to he who belongs, meaning the Messiah. So it can't be Muhammad because he was not the Messiah. So I don't know. But then again, the critical scholar interpretations are pointing this as to be more about Canaan. So